When 70% of the houses in a neighborhood are substandard, and when 1 in 5 of those houses is uninhabitable and all the signs of blight are to be seen in the area, there's only one recourse for the city, and that is to demolish the houses by condemning the area.
We would like to be sure when we do move that we move into an area which will be near our children's schools. Neither want to change schools, and we would like them to continue where they are. We also would like to move where we will have nice neighbors such as those that surround us now. And then we would like to move into a home with a pleasant backyard, spacious enough so that in the summertime we can have cookouts and entertain our friends. We'd like a place which lends itself to good, happy family living.
Having seen the condition of the neighborhood within the last 10 or 12 years, and after having stayed in the neighborhood from 1926 up until this present time, I do believe that redevelopment of the neighborhood at this time, owing to the fact that the publicizing of the redevelopment had been going on so long until people has moved out and vandalism set in. The houses are being broken up. I do think that it would improve the neighborhood. There's no doubt about that. But as far as I am concerned individually, from 1926 up until this present time, I've tried hard to prepare a place wherein I could live with my family at ease when I reach an old age. I'm almost there now. And to be broken up from the place I prepare or tried hard to prepare and to find relocation is going to come hard to me with my family and my business.
Although my home, thankfully, will not be affected by the Lippitt Hill project, I'm deeply concerned about my friends and neighbors whose lives will be. In a great progressive step such as this, some suffering is involved, but progress is inevitable, and I'm for it. In the case of Lippitt Hill, it is long overdue. Some of the houses are unfit for human habitation and are a disgrace to the community and to the city. I feel that a little forethought or foresight on the part of our city government and landlords would have forestalled the possibility of this great upheaval. I feel this might have been accomplished had our government demanded a higher standard of landlords as well as the tenants. Failing to do this, this is the result, and hundreds of families face displacement. However, I'm not as dubious about the outcome of all this as are some. I feel that if our people flatly refuse to be relocated in some other slum area, adequate and decent housing will be found for them because it has to be.
We found the problem of relocating our family more difficult than we had expected. The racial issue was much greater than the economic considerations. The problem was so discouraging that we thought perhaps instead of renting, we would attempt to buy a house. And while looking at real estate, we finally were able to find an apartment to rent, which was in a very pleasant house in a very attractive neighborhood. We would have been left with a greater sense of satisfaction had we had the goodwill of the real estate agencies in helping us to solve our problem, instead of its ultimately being solved by a stroke of good luck.
In moving out of Lippitt Hill area, I've been very fortunate in relocating myself on my own initiative. Had I waited for the relocation agency to find me a place in which to live, I would have been probably out in South Providence or somewhere way out of my territory. I have lived on the east side here for quite some time, since 1908, and it would have created hardship on me personally to have gone in some other direction. The relocation agency is very slow in finding homes for the non-whites in the neighborhood. And in my opinion, there were about 94% who had to find their own home.
In any undertaking, it's very difficult to please everyone involved 100%. In that respect, this project is no different from any other. However, it is my sincere opinion that within limits, it has accomplished the greatest good for the greatest number. Most people have found better housing. Against the advice of the relocation agency, a small percentage of our people moved into substandard housing. In such cases, the role of the agency was and must be that of persuasion, not coercion. It is common knowledge to all that non-whites are still largely restricted as to areas, but that is a problem that must be solved by the entire community, both locally and nationally, and not alone by agencies such as relocation. Of course, there has been and continue to be some gripes, but by and large, I do not consider it an overstatement to say that the relocation program has been reasonably successful.
I believe that most of the families, both white and non-white, who moved out of the Lippitt Hill redevelopment area are in better houses and homes than they were in their former area. Most of the people who moved from the Lippitt Hill area are satisfied in their new surroundings, but many are dissatisfied. And among the non-whites, this dissatisfaction takes the place of having a feeling that they had to pay more for their homes than white people had to pay for the same kind of accommodations. Also, they are dissatisfied because they feel that they have moved into an area which was already on the verge of some deterioration or blight, and that if this blight continues, they will be blamed for this condition. This is true not only of this community. This situation prevails in some other areas also. Also, the Negroes have a feeling that the reason that they had to pay more was because of the race and color, and because they didn't have free access and equal opportunity to the total market in the community. One real danger of the shift of population from Lippitt Hill to this area north of Doyle Avenue is the fact that it is creating already a new ghetto or a new all-Negro neighborhood. If this condition is not corrected, it will mean that in maybe 10 or 15 years, if conditions aren't changed, that we'll have a new Lippitt Hill. This concentration of Negroes in this new all-Negro area also is not good for the Negroes who have moved there. It's not good for race relations in this community, and it doesn't contribute at all to the development of a democratic community.
Our committee was appointed a year and a half ago by the Federal Civil Rights Commission, and the purpose of this committee is to be a fact-finding agency supplying the Civil Rights Commission with information about the local situation, and there is a committee similar to ours in every state of the Union. Last year, we submitted preliminary reports on voting, education, and housing. Now, this year, we intend to study housing and education more closely than we did last year, and add the field of employment. We intend to hold a series of public hearings beginning on Monday, January 9th, and continuing for successive weeks, perhaps 6, 7, or 8 weeks thereafter. With respect to the Lippitt Hill situation, the interest of our committee is twofold. We have a general interest insofar as urban renewal is part of the total housing picture. We have a particular interest, we have a particular question that we want the answer to. We want to know precisely what role discrimination itself played in the relocation of families from the Lippitt Hill area. There are economic problems involved. To some extent, minority groups wish to live together. To some extent, they want to stay in the areas in which they've grown up. Obviously, discrimination has played some part, either directly or indirectly, and our committee would like as much as possible to find out just what that role has been. Jefferson Fordham, the dean of the University of Pennsylvania Law School, has said that there is no neutrality in urban renewal. Urban renewal officials can either promote or they can inhibit the concentration of minority groups into small areas. One of the questions that our committee wants to find the answer to is how conscious urban renewal officials in Rhode Island are of this power. We urge all the public to come to our hearings, which will be held again in January at the Henry Barnard School on Monday afternoons, so that they too can learn the answer to this question.